The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find. The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style.
Andy Fowler, welcome to Fowler's Forum. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Mr. Heiss.
Well, you can call me Mr. Heiss. You can call me Mike. We're at that age, but
I guess we could.
That's nice and respectful. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate that. We have a lot of history that we can cover with you and some ideas that you have for the future. But starting off, I just wanted to ask you, well, at least how was your day today?
I'm a school teacher. So school teacher first week in June is crazy. But today was pretty good. Standard school day. Nothing crazy happened. Started at 4:15 this morning. My wife is also a special ed teacher. We try to get out of the house by 6:05 every morning. So morning start early. Plus side is we're home by 3:30 every day. So that's the things that we choose to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you're a lifelong resident of Hilton.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about your day and times of Andy growing up in the village.
Yeah, I grew up on Cambridge Road in the 90s. Between the Gorman family and the Duffy family. When you think of small town America, that's how Cambridge Road was. A lot of kids. I think almost every house had a kid, plus or minus a couple grades of me and my brothers. Every night we were playing football in someone's front yard or shooting hoops or riding bikes down to the creek. Whatever we could do outside, we did it. Streetlights came on, you go home for the night. That's how the 90s was. Time before cell phones. We had TV, of course. Some of us had cable TV in our house. We did. But very simple. We got outside, got some fresh air. A lot of memories, a lot of people we still stay in touch with. Some of the families still live on Cambridge Road. Gormans and the Duffys still neighbor my mom. So it's nice to see them and their kids. So the 90s were great on Cambridge Road.
Tell me a little bit about your mom and dad.
Yeah. I was the middle child of two town parks and recreation directors. My dad here for Hilton Parma, my mom for the town of Gates. So our childhood was always, hey, let's go catch this game. Let's go set up for T-ball tonight. Here's some new piece of equipment that the town ordered. Let's go try it out. We would have Sundays in the community center gym with our friends. Just trying some new equipment that might have come in. It was a lot of fun. We obviously every Park It in Parma summer celebration or the town of Gates summer celebration on the 4th of July, this winter carnivals, whatever it might be. It was always planning the next event, and we were always involved somehow. Either I was out there with my dad with the staple gun, putting signs up and posts of where to park, where not to park, or just there helping out, snow blowing ahead of the Gates winter celebration that they had. So it was always something that we would be voluntold to do, but it was always fun. So my whole life has been centered around that civic mindset of what's the next event, how is it going to be better, what could we add to it to make it bigger. I'm sure you remember the Park It in Parma, which turned into almost like a full week event towards the end of camping and pole vaulting and chicken barbecues. And that was the life we lived in. It was just always planning ahead. So it was a lot of fun.
I like that term you used, voluntold.
Voluntold, yep. And they both encouraged us strongly not to go into that field, which is hilarious because that's what they lived. their only vacations when we were kids growing up was when they went away to the state and national conference, wherever that might be, Seattle or Indianapolis, or, they lived the recreation parks life. And they also realized there wasn't a lot of money in it. It's very dependent on the town and the municipality to really um, sink funds into that sector. Out here on the west side, especially in the 90s and early 2000s, it wasn't there. So they encouraged us to enjoy it, but to go somewhere else in our lives. So
Smart
yeah,
parents. Well, I used to work for your dad a little bit in the department. And unfortunately, he left us too early.
I agree.
Tell him about your dad's influence and the disease, maybe, if I don't mean to open up old wounds. But
no, you're fine. He passed away of colon cancer. You're right. At an early age, he was able to retire. He made it to retirement age. Probably retired 10 years sooner than he would have if he was healthy. He meant a lot to a lot of people. Obviously his family, but through the years, we still run into people who share a story about some lasting impact. I was up at the Color Run in town a couple weeks ago. They had a 5K for mental health awareness. And Miss Gilmore, an English teacher up at Hilton High School, pulled me aside. She said, "You're a Fowler, right?" Yeah. And she said, "Your dad, Steve, amazing guy. He coached me through softball and basketball and, all these lessons I learned from him." And it was just nice to hear that, 10 plus years after his passing, there's still a story. And that's something that now that I have kids, they're asking questions. We're trying to keep the story alive. So,
well, I recall when the park was being installed and I got to work with him a little bit, and he was one to get out the auger and mix the cement and put in the benches. And I learned a lot from him in terms of hard work right from there.
The number of nights we painted soccer fields or foul lines on baseball fields in the middle of the high school's backyard, not even a baseball diamond. We did a lot of that growing up. An early dinner, back out to work, whatever it might be. That work ethic made a lot of things happen. And I'm glad to grow up and live through that.
And experiencing losing a parent at a young age, what type of advice would you give to other kids or people to give you strength to get through that hard time?
It's definitely, it was tough. Lean on your friends, lean on your family. I learned in the couple years after my dad passed that I had a couple classmates in high school who also lost a parent. Just reaching out to them during their loss, let them know that it's okay. We're here for each other. It sounds cliche, but it's that small town feel that we had. He was a big part in a lot of people's lives, and having them come out and be there for our family, that meant a lot too. So, even 10 years later, 10 adult years later, a lot of my adult life, he passed when I was 21, 22, I think. So 10 years since then, a lot of growing up, family, kids, career, everything else. It puts a lot of things into perspective.
Well, he'd be proud
Appreciate
of what you've grown into.
Thank
How's your mom doing?
She's doing great. She's retired from the town of Gates. She's a stay-at-home grandma. She watches on any given day between 1 and 6 grandchildren, depending on what day of the week it is. She's been a huge lifesaver as far as helping out fiscally for us with watching our children. Daycare is not cheap.
Right.
So we were very fortunate to have her be able to help out. She has got her cottage down in Cuca Lake still. That's something that we've had in the family 15 plus years now. And she goes down there on the weekends, golfs 2-3 times a week during the week. So she's keeping busy. She's got a lot of friends. She travels when she can. So she's doing really well.
Good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your brothers, Mike and Ryan.
Mike lives in New York City. He works remotely for a medical company based out of Colorado. He travels a lot. He loves Costa Rica. That's where he's been traveling quite a bit during our winter months, our rainy months. So he gets out there. He travels quite a bit. He comes home here every couple months to see the kids and help out with all those projects that we need help with. My brother Ryan lives here locally. My younger brother Ryan, he's got 4 kids of his own, software engineer, doing really good things with his kids and sports teams and what have you there. So it's nice to still stay close to both of them.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, you graduated from Hilton High School class of 2010.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about your experience in the high school.
Oh, I had a great time. I had really great teachers, some of which I still stay in touch with today. A lot of great peers, a lot of them in grades above me. Still have group texts with them all still today. My family was very sports oriented. My brother played basketball, volleyball a little bit. My brother played soccer, a little bit of basketball for a little bit too. I was involved with the baseball team. So we had all 3 seasons covered. We knew that core group of athletes that went through. I'd still put the class of like 2008 athletic class probably top tier if we're looking at the last 20 plus years of Hilton athletics. Not just athletically, but just who they were individually. And I formed what is still known as the Cadet Crew, which I believe your daughter has taken up a little bit.
Yep,
along the
sure
way.
is.
So the official, I guess it's still official since it's still around, cadet fan base of the Hilton Cadets. It was a brainchild idea we had freshman year of my high school career, and the then new athletic director Mike Geritzi kind of greenlighted it. We got sponsorships with Tony Craglio at Craglio's Pizzeria, who was a no-brainer decision for him, he said. And we had shirts, and we somehow convinced the school district to let us all into games for free. And we had fan buses, and we did some tailgates on some football games. It was a lot of fun. So that was a lot of fun through high school, doing that kind of stuff.
Is there a hard hat in the athletic director's office still?
There is. I haven't been there since Mike Geritzi has retired.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point, up until his retirement, there was at least a signed hard hat.
Didn't it have your signature?
It did. My signature has changed since then. It was a high school signature, but yes. We had hard hats. I think I have a hard hat at home still. I think the drum is in the rafter of my mom's garage.
Okay.
So we still have a lot of relics from that time period. So it was a lot of fun. And met a lot of friends along the way.
Tell me about some of those friends you had.
Yeah, so they call themselves Team Stealth. They all graduated in 2008, other than myself. Joe Peachy, Tyler Diedrich, Jake Clifford, Greg Earnhardt, Nick Fillion, Cameron McMillan, Chad Palmer, and Colin Walker. So it was just a core set of group. They've been around a lot longer than I have. They kind of welcomed me in. We all took a broadcast media class together in high school with Bob Blake. We did the morning announcements. It was a lot of fun. We messed around for the first 50 minutes every morning together, and a lot of laughs, a lot of videos that still exist somewhere, which is kind of scary to think about. And we have a group text. We see each other from time to time. A lot of us have since moved away, gotten married, have kids, but it's still a great group of guys.
Tell me about keeping score and announcing for Hilton baseball for many, many years.
That was a lot of fun. John Ayers, rest in peace. Great guy, great civic advocate. Loved baseball. He taught me. My dad taught me at a young age how to keep score in a book. I loved it. I'm terrible at math, but I loved that. And John Ayers took it to the next level. He was the lead statistician for the American Legion baseball regionals for a while. Between Ori and me coaching, and then Jeff Murphy taking over, it was just a great place to be. It was a family, a lot of assistant coaches I still stay in touch with, former players I still stay in touch with. It was a good decade. I wish I wrote down exactly how many years, but it was a good decade of being a student, manager, announcer, scorekeeper. And then after I graduated, I still came back. I moved college classes around so I could still go to games. And because you know how bad the spring weather is, you can never,
Right.
truly guess when games are. But yeah, some great memories going to Florida and South Carolina and Louisiana, with the team traveling and doing all the fun things with that. So we still try to get the boys to go to a game or two. I'm older. The players are younger. I don't know the family. I know some of the families still, but it was a great family for a long time for us. So and a lot of great people, a lot of great parents. Still stay in touch with a lot of them too.
Now, in high school, you were on the Wave.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about your radio show that you hosted with another student.
Yeah. So I was on the Wave boarding announcements. Bob Blake let us do a radio show every morning for about 15 minutes when students are coming in before first period. We call it radio show, but it was over the PA. I play a couple songs. We would have like a 3-4 minute talking segment. It was with Josh Mead, who was my college roommate freshman year at SUNY Brockport. It was called Mead and Mayor in the Morning, and I had the nickname the Mayor through high school. And we would just talk about what games happened last night, what games are going on tonight, and all those fun things in between. So we did that for a long time. It was almost, I think, 2 full school years, junior, senior year of high school. And at that time, late 2008, 2009, it felt like we were still innovative because you can't always be on camera and then broadcast it on 75 TVs or over heard by 1,000 people at Hilton High School. And plus, the neighbors around Hilton High School heard it too, which I was told after the fact they didn't care for it. But that was still not pre-internet, but it was still early in the social media world, and we were doing things that at least felt interesting and different. It was a lot of fun. You learn real quick how not to be shy in front of a camera, how to read a teleprompter was a huge skill that I haven't had to use since then, but how to write scripts and revise things and how to ad lib when something happens. It was a good 3 years. I'm glad I took that class for 3 years.
Did you ever think taking up communications in college, or were you destined to be a teacher?
Yeah, I went to SUNY Brockport. I went in as a communication major. I sat down with my advisor maybe a month in, and I said, I'm thinking this, but I'm also thinking education. I had really great teachers, and I felt like I learned a lot. And, I kind of want to do that, give that back. She said, well, if you're already debating whether you should give up communications, you probably should. So I took that advice, I ran with it, switched over to become a history major. Some of my most memorable teachers growing up were social studies teachers, Bob Phillips at middle school, Chuck Partridge, the high school, a couple social studies teachers I don't have, like Matt DiAgostine, very influential. I should also shout out Jen Monfiletto and Deb Walkenberg. I had some great teachers. Looking back at Hilton High School, or my whole Hilton career, I don't think I had a bad teacher. And I realized that at the time, and now looking back, it's still true. Now that I've been in the field for 12 years-ish now, I can still say, I had a pretty good run, good teachers.
Can you put your finger on what makes Hilton special, education-wise?
I feel that I had a lot of artistic liberties when I was a student. It probably helped that I was there every day and I always did my work and turned it in. But if I said I have to really go finish this video down in the computer lab because there's a deadline or whatever, they would let me go. And I was treated like an adult. I was 14 or whatever, but it's just a different feeling. Even back in middle school, I helped Mr. Phillips out with the Model UN conferences. I liked him as a teacher, something he ran. I was still figuring out like school, but being the son of two recreation people, I knew how to put an event on. And that's all he did. There's a catering element, there's a fundraising element, a logistical element. So I'm like, sign me up, whatever I can do to help. I loved it. So I got involved pretty early with that conference that lasted a couple of years into high school too. That was kind of like the first feeling of independence. And that's what I think they really fostered with me, at least. And as long as I showed up, got the work done, and kept my nose clean, I think they let me have some of that independence. So I like that a lot.
Makes a lot of sense. Exploration. Now, you're cutting yourself short. I did some research on you, and you had a distinguished honor of being voted most spirited senior.
Yeah.
In your 12th grade year.
Yeah, there's a yearbook floating around somewhere.
Oh, I mean, I got it upstairs, by the way. Yeah.
That's a great picture.
Creative,
I got a full page, I think, in my cadet garb, or maybe it was 2008. There's a yearbook picture there somewhere, but and that just goes back to a couple great student bodies, a couple great classes, really just leaning into that community piece and letting us run away with it. 2008 was the first year of Tuesday Night Live, the improv group, and that still exists today. So there's a lot of things that that group of students did that I wasn't fully involved with, but I guess via satellite, and I was able to make lasting impact. So
explain a little bit more about what Tuesday Night Live is.
Yeah, so Tuesday Night Live was a group of students, Jordan Hernandez, Cody Niver, Jeff Allen. I'm definitely forgetting some people here. And it was set up, Jake Felchuk was one of them, was set up kind of like an improv group where they would put on one performance in the spring, Saturday Night Live style. There would be some scripted comedy skits, and there would be some totally improv comedy skits. And definitely ahead of its time. It was the first group that did it. I came in the first year. I was in charge of helping videotape it. The second year, I helped with some of the digital shorts that were a part of it. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Mark D'Amico, who's now the current middle school principal, Bert Williams, was the teacher at the time. And he has some improv background, same with his wife. And it was a lot of learning. I took an improv class in college. I loved it. It was my art or theater class at SUNY Brockport, and it was a great way to start laughing at 7:05 in the morning, 3 days a week. So, so it was a lot of fun. I'm sure if I went back and watched the videos, I did a terrible job recording it. And maybe it was as funny as I remember it to be 20 years later. It was a good time.
Did you think working in 2008, I mean, you didn't graduate till 2010, did that help you, like knowing some of those older kids when you were on the younger end to have your success in 2010? Or
Yeah, I think so. I think they at least helped me help pave the way with relationships with some of the teachers. I knew a lot of the teachers that I didn't actually have, like Matt D'Agostino was one of them. I had him for study hall my senior year, and I don't think I spent 2 minutes in his room. I would do one of these as I passed by, and mark me good, and I would go on. So I think they helped me form a lot of those relationships and a reputation of, means well, does well.
So you graduate from Brockport. What's your next job that you started?
So my first real person job, I worked through college at Sears at the Grace Ridge Mall.
Okay.
I applied on Super Bowl Sunday one year for a patio furniture and grill assembly position ahead of the spring season. And when I did that, I'd build 5-6 grills in a day. I loved it. Just put headphones on, and I saw it as like a puzzle. Nobody bothered me. So that part was great. Then I worked myself into receiving, unloading trucks, physical job. I loved it because we have to unload 1,500 boxes today, and like that's the goal. And we, benchmarked it. And then I learned commission sales. I became sold hardware and lawn and garden. Ended up in appliances on 100% commission-based salary, and learned a lot about a lot of things. And that's how I worked my way through college. I kept that job 30 to 40 hours a week, 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
Met a lot of great people, some career-long people, about a ton of Kenmore, Craftsman, and all those things. So that was like my first like real world getting paid a little bit more than whatever minimum wage was then. Enough to buy a car and take care of some things there. I was on and off of that. I moved back home to help with the family situation with my dad becoming sick and being there to help him out and wanting to spend some time with him. And then my first year in my career, I was a teaching assistant for a 9th grade student at Hilton High School. And once I started doing that, I realized I can't be doing both of these right now. Not that a teaching assistant pays great, but I wanted to be in education, so I really soaked it up then. I learned a whole bunch that year. I call it my second freshman year because I took freshman Spanish. I took French through high school, so Spanish was new to me. I had Joe Rallier for Global One. I didn't have Joe when I was a student, so I learned his style. And I had Colleen Farrell for math. I never had Colleen as a student, so that was also a great experience. And at this time, I was a certified social studies teacher, and fell in love with Brian McDowell's earth science class. Like if I had to do it all again, earth science is probably where I would have ended up. It's just a new perspective, albeit 5 years later. But between his passion and like the content, I think I probably would have ended up in environmental sciences somehow. So it's kind of I learned a lot about learning that year because I have to sit through the classes with my student I was with, so I would as well, pick up on some teaching methods.
It really sounds like you took advantage of that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It allowed me to have some adult relationships or coworker relationships with some of the teachers there that I still talk to or text with today from time to time. So it was neat to be part of that community. Also, took some advice from some former teachers of if you don't branch out, you're going to be stuck in this mold, this model, and you can always come back. So I took that advice too. I did it for a full school year. Applied for my second school year the week before Labor Day to a tutoring center position at the Brockport School District. And paid a little better. And I said it's an opportunity to be known somewhere else. And I took it, and that was a great time too. So
Wise move.
yeah, that year I was actually when I moved over, I accepted a Hilton coaching position. I coached JV volleyball for a year with Mike Burkett. We won one game.
It's all right.
And I almost blew that victory. In the 5th game, it was so close. I made a terrible coaching decision. I still think about it today. It's funny how those things sit with you, right? For a JV volleyball team. I worked for Brockport. I worked in the out-of-school suspension center, tutoring center. It was me and one other certified teacher. And we had students for a variety of reasons. Either there was an educational fit for it, or for them, or they were long-term suspension, or whatever it might be. And we were in our own building, and I worked over there. I did some work for the athletic director announcing door security, all that kind of stuff on the side too. So it was cool doing what I did in a different district.
Sounds like you always kept yourself busy.
Yeah, I announced girls basketball for a full season. Took some notes from what I've learned over the years. Girls soccer. They asked me about baseball. Still stayed to Hilton baseball that year, so I couldn't give that one up. But yeah, I worked a lot of the Brockport athletic games. Bought some gear to wear, which is great. Still have some of that. And I stayed there, did a full school year, and then the following fall, around October time, I was getting antsy for a classroom job. So I reached out to Tim Dobberton, who was my high school assistant principal. When I student taught at Merton Williams, he was the Merton Williams principal at that time, and now was the assistant superintendent at BOCES too. And it was just on a whim. I said, "Do you have anything?" And he said, "When can you start?" And the rest is history. So it was great. Great timing. They were short a teacher in October, and I jumped over there, and the rest is history.
So at BOCES, what does your day-to-day activities look like?
So this is my third school year. My third school year being a career center teacher, career skills center teacher. I have about 70-ish students that attend our exceptional children's work-based learning program. Some of them are BOCES' own students, some are contract students, some from Hilton, some from East Irondequoit, some from Brockport, Spencerport. They come in, they go to their job site 4 days a week, and on the fifth day, they come through my classroom. And this week, we talked about job interview skills, what to wear, how to answer common questions, how to prepare. But the topic changes. I have 40 different lessons throughout the year, ranging from food handling safety to community hazards, whatever it might be. And we talk about how it relates to work. And then there's an element where we talk about the last week's worth of work, what went well, what didn't go well, why did a coworker make you angry, all these things, and kind of talk our way through it. So it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I have 70-ish students. It changes from week to week, but they rotate through. So I see everybody once a week, and that's a lot of ground to cover when you see someone once a week. How's your weekend? How's your holidays? You had a birthday last week. Where do you go? We meaning my paraprofessional Lori and I, we try to model what conversation between coworkers is, because that's what a lot of our students is missing. Are missing is that social piece. So we try to mimic that as much as we can, and we teach them how to be coworkers. They might not realize that's what we're doing when we're asking, how was your morning today, or how was your past weekend? But these are all topics that we talk about as coworkers on any given day. So that's what we really try to model, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that.
And it's also very valuable, not just book learning, but all of that socialization in the workplace.
Yeah. We sometimes will, throw the lesson to the side, and just kind of like sometimes at work, we have some downtime. What are we going to do? How are we going to keep ourselves busy? Let's all sit around and play a game of Uno. We got to kill time for whatever reason. Or, here's a problem, let's solve it as a class. We'll tackle those things too. So it's a lot of real world content. The best part is we have the ability to take it in whatever direction we need to take it, to make it make sense for everyone. So it's a lot of fun.
Sounds like a forum in which a lot of people could get a lot out of it. Let's go into your home life now, your wife and your kids.
Yeah, so Samantha is also a special education teacher at BOCES too. She teaches at our Brockport High School classroom. She's a medically fragile teacher, working with students, secondary students, that have a variety of disabilities. She works her butt off at her job. She's really good at the work she does. She has a true passion working with students with varieties of disabilities. Her and I both came to BOCES together. We didn't meet at BOCES. We met prior to BOCES. And it's just been a great place for us to move into our careers and have a family with. And work alongside a lot of the same coworkers. For 1 year, we actually had classrooms down the hall from each other, so that was really cool. That we were able to drive in together and have lunch together, and professionally grow that way together. We have two boys, Joseph, who is just finishing up his kindergarten year at Village Elementary, and his younger brother, Graham, who's 3. He's going into UPK next year. They're great. They keep us really busy. We're very tired all the time.
Yeah.
A 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, but they love each other. They play a lot. We go camping quite a bit this time of year. It's amazing to watch them both grow and learn and pick on each other and wrestle. They've never seen wrestling, but they can wrestle. We should call the Yockles or something like that, get them involved. But yeah, they're great. They keep us busy and active, and we're learning so much as they're learning. It's been really great.
Well, you had such a positive growing up experience.
Mm-hmm.
Have you transitioned that fathering and parenting to that?
I'm trying to. Big shoes to fill.
Right.
But I think my parents taught us that it takes a community. I think we're also leaning on that quite a bit too. So they're really great. They keep us humble. They make us think harder than we've ever had to think before with some of the questions they ask. But yeah, they're both very interested in learning. Joseph's really hit home runs with teachers the last 2 years, so he's in love with school, and Graham's jealous of that, so he can't wait to get started next year. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Excuse me. Now let's move into you. Not only you talked about being civically involved. You have a sip.
These are nice cups.
Yeah, that's the new Big H podcast mug. You are the first guest to take a sip.
Merch.
Merch.
I love it.
You took your civic duties to a new level,
mm-hmm.
and you are in local politics. Tell me a little bit how that began and what you've been up to.
Yeah, so it began by I sat down with my dad one day, said I want to get involved, and he said as long as it's not with the town of Parma, because that was his employer, I can be. So you don't want me to be your boss? And he said no. So I got involved with the Village of Hilton. I ran in 2012. I was 19 at the time. We'll have to ask Dave Crum, but I believe that put me at least in the conversation of one of the youngest trustees in our village's history. But I got involved. I learned a whole bunch. I'm still learning 12 years later. I did, coming to the end of my 3rd term, I've held titles of vice mayor and liaison to our budget, liaison to our personnel committee. I'm learning of the nuances of local government. Excuse me. And the Village of Hilton's really special. It's a very special place for us. Obviously, I grew up here. I lived here my whole life. But also the Village of Hilton's apolitical, so we're not on party lines. All of our conversations are how can we help our residents? How can we improve our community? Most of the conversations are like, whose tree does this belong to? We're not, solving the world's problems, but we're solving somebody's problems. That's what I really like about small government is, I'm accessible. I stop at Tops all the time when people want to, pick my brain about something. And I'll give them that time of day because that's how I learn. And if we're not learning in this position, you're stuck in that and you're not really making progress for the community. And I want to keep learning. That's why I'm still in it after 12 years. That's why I came back into it. I took 2 years off between my 1st and 2nd term, because I didn't know where my life was going to take me. There was a time where it was hard to find a teaching job.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore, but there was a time. And that's why I got back into it. A couple of people asked why you got out. I'm like, I really don't know, other than I didn't know where I was going with my career. So I got back in, and I'm still learning. We have a great village administration right now. Sherry Pierce is our village manager. Jeff Pierce is our DPW superintendent. The two of them tackle the world's problems for us at the village level. Um, we, as a village, have a lot of services for very little. Our tax rate's $1.67 a thousand in your assessment. And that covers your garbage pickup and your roads to be plowed and streetlights and sidewalks and all those things. So it's a real good bang for the buck, and I'm pretty proud to be a part of what delivers that. We're fiscally responsible at the village. We have zero debt. We own our buildings, we own our equipment, our infrastructure. That's all ours. We don't have bonds out on anything. It's all planning ahead, 10-year, 15-year replacement plans, saving for that, and hitting those benchmarks. So that's something that takes a lot of people. And I'm just glad to be part, a little person on that part of that.
Did you think entering local politics at 19 at such a young age was a good thing? Getting that youth experience.
Yeah. I'm still the youngest person on the board 14 years later. So I think a lot of things. I admit now, 3 terms later, I had no idea what I was doing. And that's not the first time I've ever said that either. Mm-hmm. It really takes a full 4 years for someone to even begin to grasp the scale and the size of the position. Because there's things that don't come up in a 2, 3, 4 year cycle that every now and again we have to go, hey, remember that one time we had this easement on this property? And that's why it's beneficial for some of the people that have been around a while to still be around, especially as people retire out of these positions. But also the fresh idea side too. Before I came on the board, there was no social media presence of the village. I know I'll get ahead of us, but I'm running for mayor to continue expanding what communication looks like between small government and the residents. Social media is a huge part of that. We've gotten better over the years. There's still room for improvement. I want to bring accessibility to the office. I believe the way I'm running my village trustee Facebook page is how the village of Hilton should run its Facebook page, and how, as mayor, I still intend on doing that. I had a person shoot me a message today asking me just to give her a call, so I called her on my way home just to talk about a couple of things that she's been thinking about in her neighborhood. That's a level of accessibility that I think someone in this position, even a trustee, it means a lot. Sometimes people are just looking to be heard, and or have an answer or a question that they just don't know an answer to. And if I can help them find the answer, then I'd say I was pretty successful at something at least. So small government, not the most attractive conversation to talk about, but I definitely enjoy it.
Now, you also wrote about maintaining what has been working well. Is that, I assume, we own everything?
That's part of it. Yeah, we have great shared service relationships with our community partners. The town of Parma, primarily with the highway department, the school district, with their vast knowledge of their infrastructure. Obviously, the school district has their own infrastructure to it. The number of times we've needed an electrician to look at something real quick, the school district would have it. Or we needed even a piece of equipment. The ceiling tile in our gym fell down, so when he kicked the ball or whatever, we could borrow the school district scissor lift. And the amount of money we save by leaning on our neighboring community partners is huge. We return the favor. We have all the equipment for concrete pouring. We own all the sidewalks in the village. So when the town or school needs something concrete-wise, we take care of it. So a lot of shared services, that's something we're doing really well. That's not just our local partners. It's the village of Brockport and the village of Spencerport and the town of Ogden. We had an incident over the winter where we had a couple frozen fire hydrants, and the city of Rochester came out to help us. And that's something that we're grateful for. It seems like everybody in small government and civic positions are there for the right reasons. And that's something that I want to take those relationships and just make sure we still have them. Over the years, we may have lost a couple of them. I would like to rebuild them. I think that's definitely something that office could do.
Talked about focusing on the future of the administrative team.
Yeah, tons of retirements coming up. We have an administrator who could retire today if they wanted to. And, they're sticking around, hopefully for some time. But it's going to be really important to get the right people in there to make sure we get the right people in there. That starts with the village board. That starts at the top of the village board with the mayor, making sure we follow a process, bringing in community members to be part of these decisions, because it's not every day a village manager position comes up. We've got to make sure we find the right candidates, advertise it correctly. We just started last month. Previously, when we had positions we wanted to post, we just put it in the Suburban News and on our Facebook, and then we would be wondering why we only got 2 or 3 candidates. We're on Indeed.com now, which has been great, and we've been getting a bunch more. So making sure we advertise these positions correctly, making sure we have that foresight of what are we doing, and are we doing it the best we can. So getting the right people in there to make sure we get the right people to fill these positions is definitely a priority of mine.
Excuse me. Creating 3 different advocacy groups. You want to businesses, residents, and nonprofits.
Yeah. I foresee. I know people don't like more meetings. I love them. I love meetings. I do foresee another monthly meeting with 3 different groups that rotate through each month. So these groups will only be meeting 4 times a year. One with our local residents that want to be involved. Another one with our local business owners. We have a chamber of commerce that over the years has struggled, especially since the pandemic. I think the village government could come in and at least bring these people back together. And then our nonprofit groups. They often get forgotten about. There's a ton of them out there. And just to get everybody on the same page, who needs help with what, when are their fundraisers going to be, so we're not competing with each other, who needs support, who's looking for volunteers, really trying to network, get all these people in the same room together. I think those advocacy groups will show that the village government's here for the people and really do some good work.
Well, I wish you luck in
Thank you.
your mayoral pursuit, and anybody that's running or for anything, you're welcome on the podcast. Just get in touch with me in that box down below, or reach me on Facebook. You also you did some work with Friends of Hilton Parma Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a local 501c3 nonprofit that I'm a co-founder of. It was me, my wife, my mother, Linda, Dan and Jamie Atoma, Christine Kunta, Alex Bennett, and Olivia, and her sister Olivia. And we started pre-pandemic. Had all these great ideas, then the pandemic hit. We started with the promise of raising funds and advocating for inclusive programming for Hilton Parma Recreation and its facilities. We had a huge food truck rodeo planned over the winter of 2019. And then the pandemic hit, and we had to pivot into some sort of direction. We started the Food Truck Wednesday promotion, which still goes on today. Every Wednesday through the summer months, there's a different food truck out there. A portion of those sales goes back to the Friends of Parma Rec, and we take that money, we sponsor baseball and softball teams, we sponsor concert series, we crowdsourced money for the poured in place surface of that new playground at the town of Parma Park. We helped with the dog park, the splash pads coming soon. So all these different projects, whenever they need money, we're a resource for the town. And it could be something simple like, we need promotional gifts for an upcoming event. Can you spare $500 or whatever it might be? We're here for them. There hasn't been a request they've given us that we've said no to yet, because that's what we're here for. We're here to enhance their programming any way we can. It's been a great since 2018, so it's been a great 7 years plus with this organization. I started as a secretary. I'm now our acting president. A lot of the co-founders are still there. We've grown in size a little bit. I'm sure there's more we can do, but we're still relevant, still present, and we're still doing good things.
Tell me about the splash pad. What's that all about?
Yeah, so the town of Parma is getting a splash pad up at the park. The skate park has disappeared. That's going to go there. It's a really cool nod to our community. The way it's been designed through Tom Venero and his office, it's going to be a nod to the Hilton Parma area. So the dumping bucket's going to look like our water tower with the same logos on it. There's an apple tree element in it, and there's also a creek-like feature that's going to be like Salmon Creek going through it. So everything in the splash pad is going to be a nod to Hilton in one way or another. It's under construction now. Hopefully it opens up sometime this summer. But as we know, with pricing of things and backlog of things, we'll see.
Sounds like a great summertime place.
My kids are going to love it. I can't wait. We frequent the ones out in Sweden and out in Ogden all the time, so they're going to love it being close to home.
Just a few things I want to hit, some fun things. And then we'll finish up. What's your favorite food?
Oh, my goodness. Favorite food? I think it depends on the day. Chicken wings are always great.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of great pizza places in town. Any given day, one of them could be my favorite. It depends on a lot of different factors. So the chicken wing is pretty good. So I'll stick with that.
All right.
Answer now. Yeah. Lightning round. I like this.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Field of Dreams is one of them. The part at the end where "Can we have a catch" is a great place. So Field of Dreams is on that list. What else? There's a couple of them. Catch Me If You Can, Leo DiCaprio, Tom Cruise, or Tom Hanks is always a good one. Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. I always tell my wife, if you could stay up for the end, you'll see me cry. And she never has, because it's a 4-hour movie or whatever like that.
Put commercials in there.
It's It's a Wonderful Life. That gets back to the 32 years of life is living in a small town and what that means. So I would say those are my top three. I'm a sucker for the Disney classics, The Lion King, and the Toy Stories. I've relived all of them again. So
with the children.
Oh yeah, so many of them, so many.
Favorite TV show or binge show to watch?
TV show, Seinfeld's great. It's on Netflix, so that helps. Believe it or not, there's not a lot of time that I have to sit down and watch TV. So that's usually a put on while you're folding laundry or whatever it may be. Seinfeld's great. Similarly, the sitcoms of the 2000s, Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens, always classics. Mm-hmm. Something we watch every week, Survivor still makes a rotation through our family with Amazing Race. Jeopardy. I love Jeopardy.
Who's better, you or your wife?
I'll give it to her.
Smart answer.
No, yeah. Seldomly are we both watching it together without, one of us usually has a laptop out or, our nose in something else. But, just, it's good background TV, and I get really excited when I get Final Jeopardy right.
Favorite book?
Favorite book? I've got a lot of,
you're a history guy, so I don't know.
I've got a lot of biography. A lot of biography. My dad collected Cal Ripken Jr. stuff, so I've read a lot of Ripken stuff over the years. But I'm also a lover of either both the classics and young adult. fiction. Anything John Green, something I can pick, easy reads. Um, but I'm a history guy. I love journalists' biographies. I read a good, especially in college, I read a really good Dan Rather one. Some of the classics. Peter Jennings had a really good one that I read. I covered it, couldn't put it down. So a lot of the journalists, they got good stories to tell.
How about favorite music?
This has changed over the years. I went from country to classic rock. Um, it depends on the day. I work up at Rochester Tech Park, is where my classroom is. So I have a 20-minute ride on 259 and 531, so I can usually turn the radio up pretty loud. Sorry if I wake you up early in the morning. um, Lately, it's been the Killers. So that's been something I've been playing quite a bit. It could be anything, though, from Taylor Swift, which my boys love. So I've become a fan over the years, to it could be, even some Miley Cyrus from time to time. Whatever's on my Spotify says I might like, I'll listen to. And it's a good way to wake up at 6:10 in the morning.
You just reminded me of something. Tell us a little bit about the 259 show that you used to
I
do.
love the 259 show.
Actually, so did I. I was a fan.
You were? You listen? You were a listener? Great.
I was a listener, and then when you start talking about food, I just got hungry.
That's all we really talked about. Joe Peachy, Tyler Diedrich, Mike Vincelli, and I, we did for almost 2 years a podcast weekly. We had some guest hosts over the years fill in for some vacancies. I started in my mom's basement, moved over into Cedar Terrace when we moved across the village. Then it moved remote for a little bit. Joe lives in New York City, so we zoomed him in. Skype. We used to Skype him in, as far away as it sounds. And we would talk about nothing. We had a Google Doc that we'd put ideas in throughout the week when we heard of something or thought something. We started, the first couple episodes were very scripted, and we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to talk about that. And then it just turned into, hey, how was everybody's week? What happened? You watched the Bills game? You have something good to eat? We have some ongoing segments. We did power rankings and, some other games I just pull out of a hat. And it was a lot of fun. It was just kind of our hangout. We still have our own group text, the four of us. 3 of us have kids. Later on in the summer, all 4 of us will be married. So, adult life kind of got in the way of that. We still make time for each other, though. It was a great podcast. Clearly, we had a listener.
It was. I enjoyed it. I listened all the time.
Yeah, we kind of took the mindset of a show about nothing.
Mhm.
That's kind of what we do. Going back to your music question, Bruce Springsteen. I can't believe I didn't say him either. Same with his biography. I have one on my desk at work right now. Yeah, I listen to The Boss a lot, too. So.
What's your favorite relaxation activity?
Oh, favorite relaxation activity. Sometimes I wake up early in the morning when everybody's still sleeping just to go downstairs in a quiet house. I love driving. Both my kids, when they were little, sometimes would only nap when we were driving. So the amount of miles I put on the parkway back and forth. I like finding a podcast, listening to an album, or just being in silence sometimes driving. So I think probably relaxation is probably driving. I like the ability that you're controlling where you're going. Sometimes you don't have a destination. But the amount of times I went down to the 390 turnaround on the parkway and came back, and I went to Kendall and did that loop a couple times. That was very relaxing, knowing that it was productive because the kid slept. So when a kid sleeps, everybody's happy. I couldn't sleep, but kids slept. So.
Oh, last one. A person from history you'd like to have dinner with?
Oh, person from history that I'd like to have dinner with. The sports fan in me tells me I should go with a sports person. But I'm going to go a sports reporter. I'm going to go... there's so many to choose from. Who should I go with? I don't know. This is a tough question. I've got history people in mind, and I got sports people in mind.
You can pick a couple.
I'm going to go with Al Michaels because he eats steak every day for dinner. Do you know that? Every day he has a steak.
I did not know
At a
that.
steakhouse. He never makes it at home.
Really?
Oh.
Do you believe in miracles?
And I think he's got a lot of stories. Him, Bob Costas. I think those would be the two. I think Bob would go into too much specific stories. I think Al would keep it broader. So if I had to go sports, I'd go sports reporter, Al Michaels. I think he would have a lot to say on his time. Yeah. Then if I had to go through history, I'd go with one of our earlier presidents. I'm a big Hamilton fan. I've really hopped on that the last decade or so. So I think that'd be pretty cool. I'm sure what we think of him is nothing of how he
Why
was.
is that? Tell me.
The musical's great. My wife and I saw it when we came through Rochester. I don't think we had kids yet, so 6 years ago. And we had no idea what we were going to experience. And it started, and I think my jaw was on the ground for 2 hours. And then afterwards, I'm like, that was amazing what we just saw. And now that it's on Disney Plus, we've seen it a couple times. I mowed the lawn to the soundtrack. So I think that's the way they tell a historical story is amazing. So I guess we need to throw Lin-Manuel Miranda on that dinner table too, just to pick his brain on how all that worked. And I think it came at a significant time in American culture and really did a number to like the theater. Yeah, so I think a historical person, Hamilton, but I'm sure the way he actually was is nothing how we think of him today.
Okay, well, if people want to follow you on social media, where can we find you?
Yeah, I have a large following on Facebook, my Village Trustee page, Andrew Fowler hyphen Hilton Village Trustee, Village of Hilton Trustee. I try to post daily of something in the village that's going on, either meetings coming up or an event that's coming up or spotlighting some local business. That's how I intend the village government to be if I become mayor. And it's something that I've been, I've had that page for a while, and I've really been modeling that for the better part of a year now. So that's the best place to find me. And you can connect through that. It's a good way to get a hold of me.
Well, thank you very much.
No problem.
Andy Fowler. This has been Fowler's Forum on the Big H Podcast. Look for future guests right here.
It's been great.
Thank you for joining me.
The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find